Hello, community. Welcome to A Cupful with myself, Koketso Mwebi. Hello, beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining me in a new week for a new episode of A Cupful. You are officially part of this community, and I hope you make yourself at home because you most definitely are. A Cupful's main purpose is to help young people such as you and me navigate the in betweens of life and take care of our well being, or as I like to say, tend to our cups and to keep pouring into them in the healthiest ways possible, all the while working on healing, growing, learning, and ultimately thriving. Life is constantly happening in many ways, and if this space can give you even a little bit of affirmation, knowledge, wisdom, the strength to keep going, whether you need it in your current season, as well as that which you can apply in your future seasons, just ending up with a full of peace, happiness, contentment, wisdom, and lots of knowledge, I feel like the purpose of this podcast would be fulfilled. I hope we're all enjoying the warmth and soft breeziness of this beautiful season. I also hope we're all taking the time to take good care of our hearts and minds. So, before we get into this week's episode, I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening to A Cupful. Thank you for every single like and interaction on the Instagram page. Thank you so much for choosing to be a part of this specific community. It really goes a long way and it affirms the purpose of this podcast. Most importantly, I really hope it is a impactful and comforting and supportive space that really does aid you in your well-being and growth and healing, and that there's also a sense of relief and hopefulness and a desire to work towards becoming intentional or being more intentional about working through the things that you need to work through and working towards the person that you want to become. This is the 20th episode. I cannot believe it. There have been so many instances where I felt like it was taking forever for me to even get to a place where I'm like, I can see myself going a lot further with this podcast. But right now, I definitely can. And I'm really, really grateful to everybody that has encouraged me and that has affirmed me and that has listened. Thank you so, so, so much. So, in terms of today's conversation, I'm really, really looking forward to that. Please get comfy, grab a cold refreshment and some snacks. If the weather permits, wherever you are, a cup full of a hot beverage. I am very, very, very much excited. Today, I'm joined by the Belle podcast host and familiar face on Morning Time TV, specifically the morning show on ETV. She is a basketball commentator, a gentle and wise soul, someone whose smile is just as beautiful as her heart, and I'm not even capping. It is an absolute pleasure to introduce Koketso to the Cupful community. How are you doing?
Hi, Koketso. Wow, 20 episodes, bro. I had no idea.
Dude,
That is
that's a lot.
crazy.
That is a lot.
Congrats, man.
Thank you so much.
But I'm good, man. You asked how I am.
Yeah,
I feel great.
yeah.
Obviously, we'll get to unpack why I feel great in a moment. But right now, definitely content and happy to be here.
That's good. I'm really, really happy to hear that. So, as a starting point to our conversation, I would like you to introduce yourself to this lovely community and let us into Koketo's world in a minute or less. So, yeah, you can go on ahead.
Geez, dude, introducing myself is so tough. I guess I'll start. It's really like I think that's one of the hardest questions. But to start off, I'm a human being. You
Yes,
know,
yes,
um,
yes,
I'm on this earth to give back
yes,
to society, and I do that in various ways. So obviously, you mentioned that I'm a host for the Bell podcast,
yes.
and this is a podcast that supports women in sports, entertainment, and the creative industry.
Mm.
Just to give advice to the young people who want to make an impact in these industries. But I'm a sports lover at heart, so obviously I have to make money from it.
Yes, yes.
um, Yeah, I love basketball, and I'm a basketball analyst for the morning show in ETV. Um, I think that's like the main thing right now. But I'm also WNBA analyst on NBA Africa's Watching the W. If you haven't watched it,
Please,
you can watch it
please,
on YouTube. Go to NBA
please.
Africa on YouTube, and then my face is definitely there.
Just like you're pretty, yeah, like you're formidable. You're just amazing.
Well,
That's what you should have said. You're amazing. You should have just said I'm a human
but
being
yes,
that's
yeah,
amazing.
I'm a human. I love working with people. Actually, let me just mention, I love working with people. I don't think I'd ever
Yeah.
work for myself. I love working with people, and that is why I'm in this space. Like, just doing this podcast, just talking about the things that we go through. I feel like it does help. Hearing people like us talk about these things, because when people, I don't know, it's just easier to relate.
Yes, yes,
You know what I
100%,
mean? It's
one
definitely
hundred
easier to
percent.
relate.
Yeah, and personally, I'm a big fan of your podcast. And when you said you love working with people, you are also a lovely person to work with. I have worked with Koketso before. We were working for a specific company, and man, it was like we worked together for a couple of days, but you always just make people feel like they know you enough to feel comfortable and free around you. So like that's one of the things that I really really like about you. You aren't, I want to say, you aren't a person that makes other people feel uncomfortable or makes it difficult for other people to connect with you, without even like giving away too much about yourself. I just think you're just such a damn. You're just such a lovely person. You're really such a lovely person to be around, and that's why I was really excited to have this conversation with you, because you've also got your own space, your own platform, your own podcast, where you, like you said, you give back, and where you are constantly having different discussions with different people. So please give Koketso's podcast a listen. Please let everyone know where they can find everything and where they can connect with you.
All right, so the morning show in ETV, I get back in October. You guys can watch
Okay,
it every Thursday from the 17th of October.
there
Every
we go.
Thursday, I'll be there 6:30, 8:30. And then the Belle podcast, you can catch it on YouTube. Just search the Belle podcast, we're there. And then Apple Podcast and Spotify. Again, the Belle Podcast. We also on social media, the Belle Podcast, or at the Belle Podcast, and this is on Instagram and Twitter. I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I think that I'm also going to, not even I think, I'm definitely going to add the About Podcast Instagram handle to this week's post. So if you didn't get that, you can just go find that on a couple's Instagram page. Yeah, you'll be able to access that there. So now that we've gotten to know you a little bit, we're just going to get into the wellness aspect of things. A few weeks ago, you went through what I've preferred to term as a personhood altering experience or time in your life that needed you to approach taking care of yourself differently. So you were diagnosed with depression and booked into a wellness center for 3 weeks. Could you please walk us through that and how it has changed your perspective of well-being, healing, peace, happiness, and growth?
Sure. I mean, I've always been big on mental health in
Yeah.
theory. I like to say in theory because when it became practical, I never really implemented the things that I knew.
Yeah,
So until
challenging. Yeah,
until
yeah,
recently, when I just felt like I wasn't okay. Yes, a few things happened in my life, that were obviously triggering, and I was like, okay, I need to take my mental health seriously, and I need to see someone, right?
yeah,
But so honestly, I just thought I just need a session or three, then I'll be fine.
mhm,
You know, I thought
yeah,
things are gonna be fun. I just need to talk to someone for like 3 sessions, and then I'll figure out what the problem is, and then we can solve it. Sharp. So I went to see a psychologist,
hmm,
and my first session, she's like, "No, you're not grand. You are severely depressed," and I was shocked because I felt fine. You know, I
yeah,
yeah, I knew that yes, there were some mental health things that I'm dealing with, but like I felt productive or functional, if that makes sense. Like I could still go to work, I could still, interact with people, communicate with people. I wasn't mean to anyone. So surely we're like, what do you mean I'm severely depressed? I'm not having suicidal thoughts. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was definitely shocking when I heard it the first time because my first session was on a Wednesday, and she's
Okay.
like, "No, tomorrow we're booking you." Right? How crazy. So
Sure.
yeah, they booked me to into a wellness center, and I was there for 3 weeks. So what happens there is like you get to basically find yourself, right?
Okay.
The 3 weeks is split into different themes. So the first week is relationship week, where you learn how the person that you're in relationships, your toxic traits. I never
Yeah.
thought I had toxic traits, but hey, I did. I
There it
did.
is.
I
You
was
got
like, oh my
something.
God, what do you mean? I'm perfect. So relationship week, emotions week, where you get to deal with emotions. I think the one thing that I took from emotions week was the fact that anger is definitely it's a good emotion. You have to feel it, obviously.
Yes.
It's how
Yes.
you react to being angry. That's what matters.
Yeah.
But it's definitely important to feel it. There's no positive or negative what's this? Emotions. Like emotions just an
Mm,
emotion, and you get to decide how you react to them. And then there's self week, where you get to work on yourself, like who am I, what do I do, who do I want to be in this world, yada yada yada. So yeah, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about mental health. So I thought mental health was specifically depression, because that is what I was diagnosed with, right? I
yeah.
thought it's basically like your knee injury where you can't move, right?
Okay.
And I thought, honestly, I thought I'm just being lazy, right? And that's when I realized I actually have a problem. Like I can't just be lazy for a long amount of time, for a long period of time.
Mm,
So that's when I saw, okay, I need to see someone. And mental health, everyone is suffering from mental health. That's another thing that I've learned.
yeah.
Every single one is suffering from a mental health illness. But unfortunately, only a few people recognize it, I guess, and
Mm,
they do get checked. And don't get me wrong, it's definitely a privilege, you know, taking care of your
yeah.
mental health. Some people don't have that luxury to be spending
Mm,
so much money on a psychologist, psychiatrist, all these people. It's intense, but I've learned that we all have problems,
yeah.
and we all need to work on ourselves to be better for ourselves
Mm,
first of all, and
yes.
then other people. So the name of your podcast is so amazing, because you literally have to fill your cup first before you pour into others or onto others.
Almost definitely. Almost definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
100%. So wow, I'm trying to find the words. Firstly, I'm really glad that you were able to go into the wellness center and you were able to get the help that you needed. You spoke about something really, really important, and you said that we're all affected by something. And it's really good to acknowledge that something is wrong. Like it's good to acknowledge when something is wrong. It's good to say I really need someone to lean on, or I need someone to speak to, or I just need to just sit down for 5 minutes or even for 5 days and breathe. Because a lot of us are high functioning, like people that have anxiety and depression, and we have crippling stress, and it's just one thing after the other. But sometimes you can't afford to go to a psychiatrist or psychologist, and sometimes you are in denial, and
Yeah.
sometimes you just think that it's normal to be to not, you think that because of you don't have suicidal thoughts, or you think that because of
Yeah,
you don't have anxiety you're fine, but I don't think that
bro.
that's how it works.
Exactly. I think I was so yes, diagnosed with depression, but also one thing my psychologist said is I'm a workaholic. And people use this word very loosely. So I used to use
Mm,
my work to ignore the problems that I'm going through.
sure,
You know what I mean?
sure.
So the same way people use alcohol to ignore their problems, I use my work. But since, in this society, like workaholic is seen like a nice thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm a workaholic. So it didn't look like a problem. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And so I
mm,
was like, nah, girl, you're not all right.
Yeah, no. You're not doing grand. You need to reevaluate. I also want to know, I really want to know from you, is there a difference in just like how you feel in your mind and in your heart and in your body? Um what what feels different right now for you?
So right now, as compared to to when I got booked in,
Yeah,
yes. So I enjoyed the rush. I enjoyed being busy.
yeah,
I enjoyed having a lot of work. I enjoyed having deadlines. I was just like, let's go, 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 go. I
yeah.
thought I enjoyed working so much better in high pressure situations, but now I'm more relaxed because I spread out my schedule. I'm like, I don't have to do this. Why am I
Mm,
giving myself so much? I'm not giving myself a lot of time to breathe.
yes.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I
yeah.
didn't. So now, like, I got the start like last week, Thursday, and I made the decision like, listen, I'm gonna spread out my work.
Mm.
I'm gonna make your rest. I need to prioritize resting.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
and I need everybody that's listening to please take two things from what you just said. I don't need to do this. Put it up on a paper in your room, in your house, in your car, at your desk, please. Just remind yourself that you don't have to do this if you do not have the capacity for it and you need to prioritize rest. Please, can we all just prioritize taking good care of ourselves for us, as you mentioned, Koketso, like for yourself as an individual, most importantly, if anyone else, it's like most importantly for you. So I also would really want to know, like, for peace of mind and heart, what are you trying to make more space for? And what are you trying to let go of? So the
So what am I trying to let go of? I'd say the
yeah.
past. It happened.
Okay.
I went through all these traumatic things that I've went through for a reason. I've learned that things don't happen to me; they happen for me.
Yeah.
So letting go of the past, and I've never been like, you mentioned all these nice things. You're such a nice person. You make people feel comfortable, but I do have some flaws.
Yeah.
So those flaws, I'm trying to get better.
Mm.
Um, yeah, yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, I'm. It's tough
It
because, dude, let me
is.
tell you, toxicity is so comfortable.
Yes. Oh, girl. Oh, girl. Yes, it is.
It is so comfortable. So now changing it is so hard. Like,
Yeah.
shop, accept that you were toxic, accept that you were this person in the past,
Mm.
and try to be a better person. Whether the people that you did wrong forgive you or not, you just try to be a better person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
That's tough. What was your other question?
What are you trying to make more space for in your life,
More
right?
space for, I think, family and friends.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I didn't really prioritize my family and friends that much. I, again, workaholic. I just focused on my work, and my friends came through work.
Mm.
The people that are my colleagues, I just say, yeah, they're my friends. Because, again, I love working with people. So I didn't feel that void of not having people, because I do work with people, but I need to prioritize family and friends because I realized that when I was there, they were the only ones who were there for me. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I also need to be a better, sister, a better
Yeah.
friend. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that, like, I really really do. I think in wanting to achieve all these things and wanting to distract ourselves and then just like wanting to feel like we are on top of everything, sometimes it's very easy to forget that you have people around you that love you,
Yeah.
and it's very easy to take them for granted and to just like take the small things in life in general for granted. I've definitely been there. I have had to, realize that you're, like you said, realizing that you're flawed and realizing that you have toxic ways is very, very difficult. But as difficult as it is, it's something that we need to do if we are trying to just be like better people in general and if we're trying to try. So definitely, I agree with that. You spoke about work and you spoke about how it's going to fit in perfectly with what I'm about to ask you. You spoke about work and how you were constantly chasing deadlines. And in this day and age, we live in such a hectic, hustle culture filled society. There's always a mark to be reached, the I have arrived symbols,
Mm-hmm.
the push yourself harder because you aren't pushing hard enough
Yeah.
talks, sometimes at the detriment of one's mental and even physical health. Which measures you would say should people put in, like young people specifically,
Yeah.
for themselves that won't have their careers driving them to points of
Oh.
an empty cups?
Um. Sheesh. I would say, okay, let's pretend like I'm telling my younger self so that, we
Yes,
don't hear,
perfect.
right? I'd tell my younger self, like, girl, yes, your career is important, but your well being is even more important.
Mm,
So, because I invested so much time to my career, but I could have made time for family and friends. I could have made time for myself mentally. Like, I
yeah.
don't have to be go, go, go all the time. I need
Mm,
to rest. Or I need to just chill and do nothing. Like, just a lazy day of doing nothing. And also, goodness, because I was so afraid of being lazy. And I learned that laziness is actually a symptom.
yeah,
So laziness just generally does not exist. It's a signal. It's your body telling you, girl, stop. Like, you're doing too much. Cut down.
sure.
So those things, like, listen to your body more, listen to, like, because your body is definitely giving you signals like, no, something konento off, guys.
Mm.
Off.
Ikaw na endo off, please. Please just stop. Listen to me, or else
Exactly. Our
I'm
bodies
going to.
constantly
Yes.
giving us signals. So
Yeah.
listen to your body more, and you deal with your, yeah, also deal with your issues, man. Because I was very good at just pretending that they don't exist or neglecting them. Like, I'd be like, oh yeah, this happened to me when I was young, sharp. But this thing would affect me so much that I'd become what I didn't want to be. I become the person that I didn't want to be.
Mm, yeah.
You know, when
Sure.
you're trying so hard to be the person, because you're like, no, I don't want to be that. But now
Yeah.
my energy is so focused on not being that, I end up being that. It's the craziest thing. But yeah, yo, I learned a lot. I learned a lot. So I think the best thing is listen to your body. To summarize it all, listen to your body. And the second thing is deal with your traumas. Recognize them. Don't ignore them. Recognize them. Feel what you feel. Write it down if you have to, and invest more time with your family and friends.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh my goodness. Wow. That was like a mouthful. You said, like, you literally just said it all. So you spoke about um how you are trying to spread things out evenly, right?
Yeah.
With work. Which changes would you say you're making to the relationship between you and your work? Whether it's podcasting or
Yeah.
being a stellar commentator on the morning show or any other career goals you may have. Like, how are you looking at things now? How different is it to before?
So before was I am what I do. There was no
Mm,
difference. It was like, yes, this is what I do and this is who I am. But I realized, no, it's only what I do. Who I am is a whole different person.
yeah.
And
Mm.
I managed to make time for the person that I am. Go to church, girl. You know, have some boundaries with your work. You can't be
Yeah.
working on something at 9 p.m. Like, what do you mean?
No. What are you talking about?
Exactly. Have some boundaries. So
Yeah.
I've definitely created some boundaries with my work,
Yeah.
but the relationship is still there.
Hmm.
I'm still dedicated to my work. I still love what I do, but I need to. It's not going away, girl. I still have it in me. So stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so stop
Yes.
holding on too tight.
Yes. Yes. Your passion, your
Exactly.
capabilities, your
It's what
talents
I'm
are
meant
not
to be.
slipping
So
away. Yeah. It's not going to go away. So don't forget that you are allowed to say, I'm done for the day. You can close your laptop. You don't have to answer emails or texts. It's not the time for
yes,
it anymore.
yes. So creating that
100%.
boundary was very NB for me. Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. And in terms of, like, you know, your emotions, you're prioritizing that, your peace and your happiness and your just your overall well-being. What do peace and happiness look like for you today? Like right now. What
Whoa,
does that look like?
whoa, whoa. So peace right now means, and this is definitely hard for me to do, but obviously this is all a practice, but just being still, learning to be still.
Hmm.
That's peace, right? For the longest time I was like, yeah, I'm not really into meditation. Gym is my meditation, but girl, you need to be still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need to, and that's how, let me tell you something. I'm a control freak, right? So I'm a control freak. Oh my God. Everyone who's worked with me knows this. But being still actually helps you. I'm very spiritual as well. I believe in God. So
Mm,
being still allows for for you to hear God's message because it's already there. Like God
yeah.
is always communicating with you, but you never really get the message because you're always busy. So
Yes.
still you get the message very clear. It's very crystal clear with you even have like you have no doubts at all when you hear that message. So like learning to be still. Oh, that's peace for me.
Sure.
Definitely peace. And happiness. Happiness for me right now, it used to be so tied up with my career and my accolades, but right now it's spending time with family and friends is
Mm,
like, is it Eden? Paradise. The Garden of
paradise.
Eden. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Euphoria. So those terminology.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. I think, um, you know, stepping away from this idea that work somehow makes you, I don't
Yeah.
know, a better person, and people see you better, or they see you differently and they think of you differently and they put you on a higher pedestal, and it just will make you a better person is false. It is not true at all. I really liked something I heard, I think it was yesterday actually, that the only person who actually speaks for you is you, not
Yeah.
necessarily your work. This whole idea that your work speaks for you and it says who you are, that's nonsense.
Yeah,
Because
that's
that is nonsense.
that's
That's a
Jesus.
lie. And it's so freeing to understand that that is a lie and that it is just like something that we're fed and we're made to believe as people who are chasing careers and chasing goals and dreams. The only person who speaks for you is you. And I think that, like, you said it so perfectly. You really said it well, that you need to create boundaries to get to a place where you are able to say, I do this now, I do this then, and I can enjoy everything equally and I can have fun and I can still be free,
Yeah.
whilst I'm taking care of myself and whilst I'm enjoying living my life. And we're young, man. Like, we are so young.
That's my thing.
We
But
are young.
I'm actually happy that, I was diagnosed so much like earlier, like right now,
Mm,
than
mm,
other than later. Because right
yeah,
now, I can deal with it right now. I
yeah,
can deal with it right now, so I don't have to make these mistakes when I'm older. So I'm
yeah.
so glad I was diagnosed with depression right now.
Yeah, no, I completely understand what you mean. I think that I just would like to say to everyone that is listening that you need to take better care of yourself if that's not something that you're doing now. I'm not just talking about eating fruits and exercising 3 or 4 times a week. No, I'm talking about taking care of your mind and taking care of your heart and your issues, because we all have them. You can't run away from that, but
Yo,
you can work on them. You
the
can
tough,
work through them.
that's a
Um,
tough medicine. You can't run away from your problems. I think
no,
I was trying to do that for the longest time, and then
yeah,
something just triggered it, and they all came. All of them attacked me. All these problems attacked me, and I
all at
realized,
once.
girl, you need to deal with everything, recognize them. And that's all you need to do, honestly. Just recognize them
Mhm.
and move on. But
Yeah,
acknowledge them. You can't just act like it didn't happen. It did.
it did. It
It did.
happened. And you know what? It's unfortunate, and like it's unfair, but it has happened. And if you're not going to work through it, then who else is going to do that?
and they're not going, they don't just vanish.
Mm.
If there's a problem, it needs a solution.
It
So
does. It
yeah.
100%. It really, really does. Oh my goodness. I think this is like a really good place to end this episode. It really is, because I feel like I'm going to start waffling. Like I'm just going to start what I'm not going to want the conversation to stop, because I'm really enjoying it. Koketso, thank you so, so much for giving me the time, and just for lending me the vulnerability that you did and the honesty that you did today. I know that this is going to help someone who's going to be listening to this episode. I know that it would be, or it will be, very meaningful for them. I also appreciate that you are not afraid to speak on your experience, that mental health is something that you are speaking about openly, and that it's just something that you want to share because you understand the importance of sharing and how impactful and helpful that can be to a person who might need that just as much. So thank you so, so much. I really do appreciate it. And please keep doing the amazing work that you're doing, how you're giving back. Keep going with the Belle podcast. It really is one of the best podcasts. Whoever hasn't listened, please go listen. Do yourself a favor. Do yourself a favor. So yeah, thank you so much. And thank you also for being so supportive when it comes to a cupful. I really do appreciate it. It must be known here on a public platform that I'm in community with Koketso as a fellow podcaster, and
Of course.
I really, really do appreciate it. You are really a real one. So, girl, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much, Koketso.
Oh,
This
you
was fun. It's always good like talking about our problems, because like now we
yes.
recognize them as problems, and like they're not that big. I think we
Go
make,
preach.
right, we make them big because we don't talk about them, and now they seem like this huge thing, and until you speak about it and you're like, oh shit, it's just a little thing.
It's just a small thing that I can
Right.
get through.
Just a small thing.
That I can get through. So thank you so, so much. Thank you to everyone else for listening. I really do appreciate it. A cupful is on Instagram. The handle is at a_cupful. And that is where you can comment on this week's episode under the post. You are also more than welcome to send a DM. I respond to them as timeously as I possibly can. You can also stream a cupful on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcast, on Amazon Music, and on Google Podcast. And like I said, please, you are more than welcome to share any thoughts that you might have. Also, don't forget to stream the Belle podcast. I am going to leave the handle in this week's post so that you are able to access the page. And in the bio, you will be able to access links to go and stream it on every single platform that it is available on. Please have a lovely remainder of the week. Don't forget to rest when you need to, have fun when you need to, take care of your heart, take care of your mind, take care of your loved ones, take care of yourself. Don't forget that you cannot do things alone. So please nurture your communities, love in your communities, take care of each other in your communities. That is very, very, very important. And most importantly, don't forget to keep doing the things that fill your cup up.